For decades, the nutritional consensus was a simple energy equation. If you remove the calories from sugar but keep the sweetness, weight loss must follow. However, epidemiological data has shown a paradox. The usage of non-nutritive sweeteners has skyrocketed, yet obesity rates have not declined. This suggests that the biological impact of sweeteners extends beyond simple thermodynamics. Today, we analyze the three most common compounds: aspartame, sucralose, and erythritol, through the lens of toxicology, gut health, and metabolic signaling. Aspartame is perhaps the most studied food additive in history. Chemically, it is a methyl ester of a dipeptide composed of two amino acids, aspartic acid and phenylalanine. The controversy often centers on its metabolic breakdown, which yields a small amount of methanol. Methanol is toxic in large quantities. However, the dose makes the poison. The amount of methanol produced from digesting a liter of diet soda is significantly less than the amount produced from digesting a glass of tomato juice. The more relevant data point is the acceptable daily intake, ADI. The FDA and EFSA have set the limit at 40 to 50 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. For an average adult, this equates to approximately 15 to 20 cans of soda per day every day to reach the toxicity threshold. While the International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC, recently flagged it as possibly carcinogenic, this classification places it in the same risk category as pickled vegetables and aloe vera extract. Soyaki, indicating a need for more data rather than immediate alarm. Sucralose is structurally distinct. It begins as a sucrose molecule, but 3 hydroxyl groups are replaced with chlorine atoms. This modification prevents the body from recognizing it as a carbohydrate, meaning it passes through the digestive tract largely unabsorbed and contributes 0 calories. However, unabsorbed does not mean inactive. Recent clinical studies indicate that sucralose may interact with the gut microbiome. Research published in Cell has demonstrated that chronic exposure to saccharin and sucralose can alter the composition of gut bacteria, specifically reducing populations of beneficial anaerobes. This dysbiosis was shown to induce glucose intolerance in healthy adults, suggesting that while the sweetener itself contains no sugar, it may impair the body's ability to manage real sugar when it is consumed later. Erythritol belongs to a class of compounds called sugar alcohols, polyols. It is naturally found in fermented foods and is absorbed into the bloodstream before being excreted unchanged in urine. For years, it was considered the safest alternative due to its lack of effect on blood glucose or insulin. However, a 2023 study published in Nature Medicine introduced a new variable: cardiovascular risk. The data showed that elevated levels of circulating erythritol were associated with an increased risk of major adverse cardiovascular events, MACE. Mechanistically, the study found that erythritol enhanced platelet reactivity, both in vitro and in vivo. This means it potentially makes the blood more prone to clotting. While this is a single major study and requires replication, it challenges the assumption that erythritol is biologically inert. Finally, we address the neurological component, the cephalic phase insulin response, CPIR. The hypothesis is that the sweet taste alone triggers the brain to signal the pancreas to release insulin, anticipating sugar that never arrives. While animal studies consistently show this effect, human data is mixed. Most systematic reviews suggest that NNS do not cause a significant spike in insulin in isolation. The metabolic confusion appears to stem from the dissociation of sweetness and energy, which may lead to compensatory eating behaviors later in the day, a psychological rather than physiological phenomenon. The data suggests that while artificial sweeteners are not the acute toxins they are often portrayed to be in alarmist media, they are not biologically invisible. They interact with the microbiome and potentially the coagulation system. The choice is a trade-off: avoiding the known metabolic damage of high-dose sugar while accepting the potential yet less understood impacts of synthetic alternatives.